We're going to move on to our next section of the conference. Next, we have an alumni and student employee panel that will be discussing how to get the most out of your current job. So we have the amazing Veronica Aguilar here to moderate. Veronica is the Assistant Vice President of Outreach here at Arizona State University and also the founder of Young and Empowered Women. Veronica, I'll kick it over to you from here.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for that introduction. Really excited to be here to moderate this panel. We have an exciting time together with some amazing panelists. So we're going to have, I'm going to do some just quick introductions of who is joining us today. And then we're going to dive into some questions so you can hear from these amazing students and alumni. So first of all, we have Kinsey Daniels. Kinsey is currently a W.P. Carey School of Business senior, majoring in CIS. She currently works for the LEAP program as a student manager and serves as chapter president of Delta Sigma Theta sorority here at Arizona State. We also have Brooklyn Johnson, who's also a Curtin student. She's currently a senior at the Polytechnic School in the Fulton Schools of Engineering, studying mechanical engineering. She has worked as a teaching assistant, grader, and undergraduate researcher. Additionally, Brooklyn is very active in the Grand Challenge Scholars Program, Fulton Ambassadors, Poly on Wheels, Desert Wave, and the Chinese English Language Bridge here at Arizona State. We have some busy students here, folks. All right, now we have our amazing alumni. This is someone who I'm personally very excited to introduce. Kelsey Carter was a former student worker of mine that I had the honor of managing. Kelsey graduated from ASU in May 2020 with a degree in management from W.P. Carey. She's currently an HR coordinator at STARS. She collaborates with the Chief Diversity Officer and other stakeholders to really improve the business processes. Now, during her time here at ASU, Kelsey worked as an alumni career peer and also worked off campus. And last but certainly not least, we have Tony Welcome here. Tony graduated from ASU in December of 2018 with a degree in CIS. While a student at ASU, Tony worked in 2 different student jobs, had 2 summer internships, and has been working full-time as a software developer since graduation. First of all, y'all, congratulations to your success, both students and alumni. We're so excited to have you all here. Thank you for your time and thank you for being such a great representation of Arizona State University. So we're just going to dive right into it. So for my panelists here, this is for everyone on the panel. If somebody were to ask you how you would describe your current or former student job, what would you say? This is for everyone on the panel. So Kinsey, you popped up first for me. If you'd like to take the first answer, that would be fantastic.
And so hi everyone, thank you for allowing me to speak today. If I could say what my job is, I would say my job, the job that I do is work with incoming freshmen to get them transition from a high school setting to a college setting. So, coming from high school to college, the transition totally changes, the environment changes, everything around you changes. So we start with that. And my role is to supervise the mentors to mentor the freshmen. So my job is to make sure that they are feeling strong and encouraged, confident to mentor those first year students, to work through any problems they may have, to make sure that through the program that they're growing only as mentors, but as students. Because at ASU, even though we are all workers, we're students too. So that's what I would say my role is at ASU.
That's amazing, Kinsey. Thank you so much for, not only describing your job, but really showing how you made an impact in the community. I really appreciate it. Tony, how about you?
Sure. So I had several different student jobs. I had actually 3 now that I think about it, but the one that I was in the longest was actually in career development services. So that's kind of the one that I most identify with as my student job. And I would say that I helped ASU students, alumni, and community members prepare themselves for the professional world with a variety of career development services, resume reviews and cover letter reviews, interview prep, things like that, getting to help work with recruiters and students and kind of make those relationships and network out the kind of community as a whole. So that's what I would say.
Amazing. And I'm sure both students and alumni really appreciated the support that you gave them. Thank you, Tony. Brooklyn, how about you?
All right. And then for me, just like Tony, I had a few different jobs, but my main one and the one that I identify most with as well is the subject area tutoring at the UASP Center. And so basically I just help tutor math, physics, and engineering for any student who comes in. And it's been an amazing job for me specifically because it helps as a student to really ground all of the classes that I've taken so far. Like none of that information really gets so far away from me because I have to continue to review it to help other students who come in. And I really enjoy it because I get to see all of my peers and the younger students come in and get to show them like, oh, here are the tips and tricks, and like these are the places that you should go, and this is what you should do in order to get the grades that you would like to succeed.
I love that, Brooklyn. I'm thinking back. I could have really used your help when I was at Arizona State. So thank you for your support there. And finally, Kelsey, please tell us about your experience.
Yes, kind of piggybacking off of everyone. I helped, students, alumni, and other faculty. As mentioned, I served as an alumni career peer, so it really opened my eyes to just so many resources I didn't know were available. Free career services for life is such a great privilege to have because you always have access to different employers and you can always get professional advice or, like interview help, and having someone look over your resumes and cover letters. I think that's an essential thing to have, especially going into the workforce for the first time. But in terms of the job, it was really nice being able to help others, as everyone mentioned, with their career-related issues. I think one of the most rewarding feelings is getting a follow-up email from someone whose resume I reviewed, and they tell me all about the improvements that they see. And sometimes they do reach out to me and they say, hey, I got that job that I was telling you about. And yeah, it's nice to know that you're really making a difference.
What an incredible impact, everyone. Thank you so much for sharing. So now for those who are current student employees here at the university, this is a question for you all. So what skills do you think you have improved on since starting in your role, right? And for those who are former students, how would you describe the skills that you built in your student role to prospective employers when you were job searching? So let's first start with our current student employees. If you'd like to hop off mute and answer that question.
I can hop on. So something that I think I gained because I've learned through being a student employee is one, confidence when speaking to others, because what my job always tells me is that you're the expert. No one knows what you don't know. So always instill confidence, critical thinking skills, problem solving, figuring things out that you didn't think you knew, like outside the box. So things are not always point A or point B. Sometimes they're in the middle. So learning how to work through those difficult problems fast, sometimes slow. I think also something that I've learned is teamwork. It takes a village to get things done. And a lot of times, sometimes we want to do things by ourselves, but what I've realized is with a great team, you're able to really get things done and ask for help. So those are some skills I definitely didn't have coming in as a student employee, but have built upon and is continue to grow in my student employee journey.
And then I will go next. For me at the tutoring center, I'd say that the biggest thing that I learned was communication and comprehension skills. When I first started, I was kind of nervous because our tutoring center is drop-in. The students don't have to make an appointment and then wait for it. Like they can just be doing their homework and get stuck and come right in. So as a tutor, I won't know who's coming until they're there. So that means that I have to be able to quickly interpret what they're saying and what their problem is, and then determine the best way that I can explain the concepts so that they can understand. And I kind of have to do this all in a timely manner so that I can help as many students as possible and the queues don't get too long. So I would say the biggest thing that I've learned in the tutoring center is to be able to comprehend and understand quickly and then effectively respond, which I think is an amazing skill to have.
I just have to say real quick, Kinsey and Brooklyn, if you were in a job interview right now, that was absolutely perfect. Everyone take note of that, of how to communicate the skills that you are learning. Congrats to both of you on what you're learning and experiencing. I'm going to pass it to my alumni, Tony and Kelsey. How would you describe your skills to your employer when chatting, either in an interview, 30-second elevator pitch, just when you're conversing with them?
Sure. So I think that when I'm describing the skills that I picked up as a student employee, I think it's important to kind of peel back the onion on some of the tasks that I had as a student employee, there's so much more to some tasks that you get than just like, I got communication skills out of it, or I worked on a team, so I got teamwork skills out of it. There's just so much that goes on that you might not immediately think of. So I think when you're kind of writing those things down, almost as if you're writing it down on a resume, you really can kind of peel back that onion and just take apart like, yeah, I worked on a team and that got me a whole lot more than just teamwork. It got me relationship building skills and the ability to network and the ability to communicate with those team members in like an effective professional manner. And so I think that's how I would describe my experiences.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Like in my position, even though I worked in career services, so I already kind of had that experience talking about it. With reviewing all of the resumes and cover letters, one of the biggest things that we stressed was quantifying your experiences. So before every interview, I know like, okay, I've reviewed over 400 resumes and cover letters. I've held around 200 one-on-one appointments. And like, it's nice to go over everything and kind of like point out what you've done. And it really shows how to highlight some of your biggest accomplishments. And yeah, now I keep a journal of all of my tasks, and every day I write down what I do exactly, like how many invoices I process for the day. And so maybe the next time I go on an interview, or even if someone just asks, what are you working on? Like I can always say exactly what I'm doing comfortably, and I don't have to really like think about it. It's just kind of second nature at this point.
I love that, Kelsey. It really sounds like you're building your own personal and professional portfolio, right? Throughout your time and in your career, which is something really great to always refer to. And I have to say, even in my role now, and I previously worked at Career and Professional Development Services as well, talking with these community and business leaders, these are the skills that they're looking for right now. The communication skills, teamwork, leadership. So you all are getting such a great experience, because those are the top things that companies are looking for, no matter what industry that you want to go into, right? Education, nonprofit, business, law. So props to you all for not only achieving those skills and receiving that professional development, but then also being able to communicate them. And then hopefully for our current students, when you head into the workforce, implement them as well. So congratulations. Now, to our current student employees, question for you. How do you feel your supervisor supports you as a working learner? And what additional support might benefit you to get the most out of your student employment? And whoever would like to go first.
I could take that one first. So for me, I really, really love the tutoring center because they always keep in mind that we are students first and workers second. And so for that, you don't have to work an exorbitant amount of hours at weird times. They're always convenient. It's between your classes. They always make sure that you have time between your classes and things like that. And then additionally, I kind of sometimes feel like that my job is almost like a class on how to be a good employee and a good team member in the future. We have staff meetings where we'll talk about like how to write a good email and how to address conflict in a team and how to make like a good resume and a portfolio. We have self-evaluations where we have to like discuss what we did and what we could do better. And then also we have to write down like, how would you describe this and what you did in a resume? And so they're already preparing us, like, how will you make this something that you can turn into to benefit you in the future? Like, how will you step off of this job into one in the future and make that a good step? So that's something that I really enjoy.
I'll go ahead, kind of the same thing that Brooklyn talked about. My supervisors really make sure that I have a big test coming up. If I'm really overwhelmed, they understand that I am a student. So if they see them overwhelmed, sometimes I don't tell them that I am, but they can like sense it. They'll say, hey, you need to take the day off to, study for your test or a mental health day. They understand that. So I think in student working, you have to understand that as college students, we're stressed out. So to have a supervisor who understands that and is willing to work with you around that, or moving meetings around. So for example, if like I had a big test last week and I texted my supervisor and I said, hey, like, I have a big test and I want to meet, but I think I need to study. And she was okay with that and we scheduled. So just having that support as a student to know that if I have something coming up, that affects like, graduation, they understand and they're willing to move around my schedule. So I really appreciate that. And also, like Brooklyn talks about, my job is a lot of professional development, learning how to set those boundaries, not only as an employee, but as a student, as a worker in another field. Those things were super important and I value them a lot.
That's so great to hear. It seems like, really making sure, like you all said, you are a student and a learner first, right? And for you all to have those conversations with your supervisor, it seems like you all must have had a really good relationship with them, right? It wasn't very task oriented, like, okay, Kinsey, this is your checklist for the day. Have a great weekend. It seems like there was a lot of communication, rapport building, which is really great to hear, because that's what a supervisor should do, right? To make sure that they are empowering you all and elevating you all in not only the work that they're assigning and delegating, but also your schoolwork. So I'm really glad that both of you had that experience. So now for our former student employees, if you were to go back to your time as a student employee, what might be one thing you would ask your supervisor to help you that would have supported you even more as you prepared for life at ASU? And Kelsey, no pressure at all, since I was your former supervisor. But Tony and Kelsey, would love to hear your experiences and what more you could have used support in.
Well, being that you were my supervisor, I think I don't really know what I would ask, because you've really set me up for success in so many ways. With like your frequent check-ins, or as mentioned last July, how you created and included me in the Young and Empowered Women's Association. I think that's such a beautiful thing, because it really connects a diverse group of powerful women for professional development and networking opportunities. And especially before I started working, this group was kind of like my monthly recharge, and I got to talk to people and step out of my comfort zone. And just also, it being on a monthly basis, it wasn't, too much of time constraint, and there was always a keynote speaker, and you'd think, oh, this next speaker can't be more inspiring than the last one that we saw. And my expectations are surpassed every time. So yeah, I don't really think I can ask you any more than you've already given.
Nice. That's a good answer. Well, I had some phenomenal supervisors as well, but if I was coming up with an answer as to, what I would ask, it would just be to, if you came up with any out of the ordinary task, something comes up that isn't necessarily kind of front and center on the job description, keep me in mind, send it my way, because I think getting those types of tasks and the ability to think on your feet and kind of improv what the workday might look like is something that I know is relevant to a ton of career fields. Maybe not all of them, but certainly mine. There's gonna be tasks that come up that you weren't expecting to be asked to do, and you need to think on your feet, and you need to get those tasks done in like an efficient and professional manner. So even if the task isn't relevant to whatever your career field might be, just the ability to kind of take that task on with pride and confidence and get it done to the best of your ability, I think is something that's going to be relevant to any job you'll have outside of college.
I love that. Really, like you said, being able to think on your feet. That happens in, professional careers all the time. Really trying to create clarity around the ambiguity, right? That exists a lot. Kelsey, I didn't hop off of mute because I'm sure if I did, I would have gone emotional. But thank you all. I'm glad that you've had such an impactful experience with supervisors, and I hope this is making you think about how you will be a supervisor in your future as well, to receive the same experience and even a little bit more. So thank you for that. For our former student employees, we have one more question. What advice do you have for current student employees regarding how they can connect their student jobs to their future career interests? Would love to hear from you both.
Sure. Well, I think that advice that I would have is to not be afraid to find something that's your passion And if you find yourself in a job that has nothing to do with your idea of a current future career field, but it's something that you're passionate about, lean into it. Because I found myself passionate about different career services. I thought editing resumes was very fun, talking with people about interviews, and I think it was just a blast. And I loved the impact that I had on the community around me to do that. And so, sure, as a software developer, I mean, I don't necessarily utilize those skills every day, but there's different clubs that I've been in at work that I've talked to people about utilizing those skills. I've edited friends and family and family of friends and friends of family resumes all over the place. And so, leaning into that passion, even though it's not directly connected to my career field, was, I think, great for me. And so it can always elevate your career field to another level, just being able to offer that kind of extra help outside of whatever your peer review might be. So that's what I would say.
That was a good one. I should have gone with passion. But I guess my advice is to know that it's not always about what you did, but how you can make it relate to what you're looking for. Because in my professional experience, I started in sales and retail before even working as a career peer, which is more aligning with what I wanted to do. But yeah, even though they're not related, I use those experiences to highlight my communication skills or maybe inventory management. So working in different industries can definitely be used to show adaptability and a willingness to learn. You just have to look at maybe like your job description and see how you can relate it to your work and leadership experience. Reach out to your supervisors and discuss next steps. You can always contact career services because they can also help you express your accomplishments, and check, as he mentioned, checking out other organizations that can definitely help guide you in your personal and professional life.
That's amazing. I really appreciate that. And hearing from both of you all that passion and the purpose is so important. And we're thankful that you were able to experience that with your experience at Arizona State University. So we do have time for one question. We have a question that came in. So it is, and whoever would like to answer this question can. Let me see here. Did any of you all have a supervisor who was brand new to their supervisory role? If so, what tips would you recommend to that supervisor or even new future supervisors?
I'm happy to take this one. At least started off. Yeah, I've both at ASU and actually in my professional career, I've had people brand new to management or supervisor roles kind of step in and be my leader. And I guess the tip or advice that I would have is, everyone's only human. So everybody's going to have these first time experiences no matter what. So I would just say lean into it, kind of grow together, right? If they're going to be growing into this leadership role, you're hopefully your own leader a lot of times. So talk to them. What is it that you're looking for in a leader? What is it that you're kind of hoping to get out of the relationship as your supervisor? And then they can kind of say the same thing to you, kind of set expectations as to what they have in mind for that relationship or what they might need to work on. And I think that two-way communication and that feedback is extremely important for the growth of both parties involved. So.
Thank you, Tony.
I have an answer for that one as well.
Yeah, go for it.
I've never been a supervisor myself, so I'm not sure if I'd have the best tips on how to be a good one, but I have a brand new supervisor right now, and she started just this semester, but she is absolutely amazing. You wouldn't be able to tell that she was new at all. And I guess if I were to have tips, I would model it off of her, and she's very, very kind, and she's also very lenient. For example, right now I was having some issues with my hours. And so I was having to be in conversation with ASU and her, my new supervisor, to try to figure out this new schedule. And it was taking a long time. And she just kept checking in on me and was like, how's it going? How's everything doing? And was very kind and very lenient. And so I think that's one of the good things as a supervisor is to understand that like not everything happens like the perfect way that everybody would like it to be, and to be okay with that, not to be upset about it, and to also like keep up with your staff and make sure that they're doing okay, and to just be kind and friendly. I think that's some of the best qualities to have as a supervisor.
Brooklyn, you just made your supervisor very happy if they're listening in right now. Kinsey, Brooklyn, Kelsey, and Tony, truly thank you all so much for your time. We know that you are students first and you are employees and you're out in the community. So we really appreciate your perspective and experience and taking the time to join us today. It's been a lot of fun being able to moderate this panel. So for everyone that is here right now, we just want to take the time to thank you all for your participation in today's conference. We hope that it was an opportunity for you to spend some time really thinking about your future goals and how and what you are doing today to make sure that we can help you get there. For all attendees, you will be receiving a follow-up email with helpful links and next steps. So keep your eye out for that in the next coming days. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you all, Sun Devils, and really appreciate your participation.